brand. But it does have a symbol to Varusha Crozet, which he doesn't dunk in like any fire or anything like a brand would. He dunks it into a vat, which has this cold mist seeping and pouring out of it. As he pulls it out, you guys could see ice sort of growing on it, growing and receding at different spots on it. This magical cold substance just. And the silver. He very purposely walks towards Delvet, who's still writhing. And you guys could hear Ricker muttering under his breath a prayer to Varusha Crozet as he takes this brand, so to speak. It fits almost like a stamp in his hand. And then he just takes it, puts it over Delvet's heart, which is a focal point of light, because that's where all the blood circulates through. And he takes it, aligns it, takes his other hand and presses down into it. Almost like someone trying to shove a dagger into another person with both hands and efforts. As he does so, you guys could see this icy growing capability actually start to stab into Delvet's flesh. Not piercing his heart, but making its way towards there, almost like lightning trying to find a way to the ground. It eventually reaches the proximity of Delvet's heart, and then just like that, all the light glows a bright light, blindingly so. And then, like the inverse of a collapsing star, just sort of outward, a wave dissipates all this bright light, this blue chemical, everything, the final catalyst. When everything's said and done, Rickard pulls the brand off and away. It is no longer cold. It no longer has ice growing on it. There's not even a mark on Delvet, but he looks at his, so to speak, handiwork. Delvet is laid out in this operating chair, exhausted from the sudden amounts of pain that has now passed from the looks of it. He presses into his leather straps a bit more now, due to increasing muscle mass. His head is pushing a bit too far into the cap that's on it, because he's taller now. And true to what Rickard forecasted, he does look a bit more tanned.
Is this it? Did it work?
Yes.
It is a very weird thing to have witnessed. Captain America. I mean, I guess that is sort of what Delvet went through, huh?
I mean,
That's great.
A little bit.
Ba-ba. Got that Delvet token, though.
Oh, we got
Captain
Top Delvet.
Dubros.
Hot Delvet.
My boy.
He now has sunglasses. Free from the operation.
Hot now.
Those
Oh, damn,
sunglasses.
yeah, we have to get him some sunglasses, don't we?
Yeah, so about that magic item that you were Rickard has a smirk on his face and begins undoing all the straps on Delvet as Delvet's sort of getting his bearings. Sort of his head is quite clearly reeling as he sort of like spins dizzily. As his blood circulation normalizes, so to speak. And he's taken out of a fight or flight response from, excruciating amounts of pain. Come on, kid. Sit up. He pushes himself a bit more to sit upright. He doesn't stand. No, he's definitely not in a state to stand. But he eventually gets his bearings and begins looking around with a sort of awe to his eyes. He lifts up his arms, which there's like sort of like press marks on his wrist, because that's where the leather straps were that he was pushing himself against and grew into. So he like rubs them. And then it doesn't take a keen insight roll, especially for those of you that are martially trained, so you're sort of more attuned to analyzing someone's physicality. Like, he begins gripping his wrist, tightening it. And then he does on the other side, tightening it. Grabbing both his wrists now with each hand. Sort of like as you're shaking hands with yourself. Tightening it. You can see him flex his arms a bit. And he gets like this sort of like small smile on his face. He
How do you
begins
feel?
to move like his arms to the armrest to try to stand up, and Ricker like pushes him back down, like, no. Alexander asks how he feels, and he just responds with like this sort of wonderment and breathiness. I feel better. I don't ache. I don't. He like grips the armrests. You can see him tighten his grip. I can. Kid, relax. There'll be plenty of time for that in a sec. Just get your bearings. Right. He begins like grabbing at the armrest and flexing his arms, leaning forward so as to like put stress on his back muscles.
Your arms are a little longer because you got taller, so that your hands is not really where your brain thinks they are. You'll be used to it though. It's quick.
He's half listening to you, Sajar, as like he hears what you're saying. He's understanding what you're saying, but he's just sort of distracted by all of this. And you guys can see that he gets like teary-eyed as his smile widens. I can. He looks up at Rickard. Thank you. Nothing to thank me for, kid. Thank yourself for having conviction to keep going. He looks over at the Rickard looks over at the little shrine, the like assemblable shrine to Varusha Crochet. I'm just agent of the gods, I guess. He pats Dev on the shoulder. We're gonna do some tests on you, kid. Make sure everything's working proper and functional, right? Uh-huh. Rickard takes Delvit through a series of general anatomical tests. You know, you guys know the sorts, the same ones that you would get when you go for like a checkup of your doc. The chair can change formation or orientation rather, so it actually can become like a full-on table or a full-on like L-shaped chair and so on. It could also go up in height, sort of like a barber's stool and stuff like that. So Rickard takes Delver through a series of general physical tests, like, you know, tapping his knees, checking his pulse, blood pressure, the works. The entire time, Delvit's just sort of teary, goes along with whatever Rickard says. And every time, Rickard makes it a point to say, checks out, all good, up to snuff.
Every time he says that aloud, Alistair's like, yes! Oh my god!
every time he's like, oh my fuck.
Those blood pressure's good!
Delvit's the same way, too. Like, he's just like, this growing
What do you mean it's
smile
not
as
low?
he's normal, essentially. Like, yeah, he doesn't have a superhuman body like Captain America to ride home about. Not that he has a home anyways, but
Goddamn, he doesn't have a broken one.
But in comparison,
it's a substantial improvement on his previous affliction. There is an absolute awe about Delvit. All of you roll me insight.
Okay.
Would we have gotten a short rest by this point in the day? You could say
You guys would have gotten a short rest when you guys were hanging out at the Lord's Lair.
Okay, I'm just gonna do. Well, I still have those dice. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. This is important to me. Fuck, stop rolling ones.
As you guys are just sort of watching this post-op, essentially, continue and finish out Delvet's growing excitement and joy. To Sajar and Silas, you guys can spot out of the corners of your eye America, who herself is watching Tolus. And this is astounding to Tolus. This metamorphosis, this transformation, this capability. Sure, Varusha Crowjet absolutely had a hand in it. There's very little doubt on that. Whether it's a great influence or a small influence, who knows? But the art of alchemy is a pretty specific and esoteric practice. There's not one religion that has alchemy in it, and so on. There are plenty of facets to alchemy. And just everything that went into this is intriguing to Tolus. Hearing those capitalize on voidic influence to make the betterment of one person who is honestly, people probably did call Delvin outright curse at times, right? Like, all this strikes Tolus very, very interestingly. Point number 2 is seeing Delvet's very visible emotion. Like, this is what combining all these practices can look like to help someone. It definitely gives Tolus a good boost of morale, contrary to what Amber talked shit on her about before.
Yeah.
America spots you two noticing Tolus, and she just gets like a smile on her face, and she looks at you guys because you guys are sitting near each other. She smiles and just gives like a knowing nod, like, "This is good. This is good."
Yeah, this nods back.
Same.
Eventually, Ricker gives Delvet a statement that Delvet has not ever heard in his fucking life directed at him. A clean bill of health.
Oh, that's so nice.
He's heard of it in legends, dreamed about it.
Peripherally. Ricker gives him the okay to
Clean bill
begin
of health?
standing and walking around. And Delvet, delicately initially, but he steps down and off the table and does so. He begins walking around. He taps his, like, not the tip of his toes, but like the bend of his toe or feet, feeling the sensation. He leans all of his weight on one leg and then on the other. He bends over onto the operating table and does like a, not a push up because that makes it sound like perfectly flat, but like just sort of like a angled push up, slowly, just testing himself. Ricker doesn't stop him this time. He's already done the check for Delvet. He just watches Delvet as Delvet begins sort of trying and moving different things to test his body's physical capabilities. Delvet, after a few minutes of testing his physical capabilities, looks up to you all in the operating peanut gallery, the audience. More specifically, he looks at Alessander. "Sir, I think I'm ready to go."
I think so too. He's beaming. I'm almost crying here, so I think he is
Yeah,
too.
you can hear it in your fucking voice. It's so happy.
You look like you've been doing this all your life.
I can't wait to start doing it all my life, sir. Ricker like ducks his head, bows his head at that, with like a smirk on his face and closing his eyes, looking off and away. All right. If you're gonna be walking around with adventurers, we can't have you going to kill monsters looking like this. He says, gesturing at Delvet, who has like he looks sort of like Sajar in an attire because one of his sleeves does not have his arm through it for his robe.
Right.
Like he's he's like a bit, I want to say exposed, but I guess that is the word for it. We can't have you killing monsters in that. Ricker like rubs his nose, looks away. Give a talk to some people, some city watchmen, some seekers, some slayers, and some cradle staff, and many hands make good work. You know, I don't understand. Well, we just figured we'd chip in to get your boys' first adventuring fund. Get you some proper kit.
Yo.
I'll get it to you later. For the time being, he just gestures around. Take a walk. Yes, sir. Ricker begins walking up the stairway that leads down to the operating theater to go get the general supplies, but he does remark to Delvin before he goes, "Kid, if you got a vocation you're going to try to follow out there, let me know. There's still plenty of side funded, but I'll get stuff for you." Okay, thanks. Ricky just nods and leaves. What's your guys' passive
before you
perception?
go,
18.
Passive?
Passive.
Same. 18.
Oh, mine's like 12.
So we got 16, 18, 18, 12. What?
Rickard,
deeds?
before you go,
What's up?
here, I forgot I still had this. I hand over him the Hexblood toxin. I don't need it anymore, and I probably shouldn't be carrying this around.
I thought we took these all back from you guys. Guess we must have missed one.
Here you go.
Thanks. Don't know what good these will be now that the bitch is dead, but maybe something to keep for precedent.
Thank you.
He does like a flick with the vial. Good looking out. And begins walking out the door. The door closes behind him just because they automatically close. He walks around into the hallway. To those of you, basically all of you, but
It's always the
What
feel
a
bad when
sad-
you ask for passive.
yeah, I know.
No,
I
but
know.
I'm completely committed to Sajar's perception at this point. I'm loving it.
It's a good bit. As you know, Ricker leaves and yada yada walks down the hall. You guys could hear out in the hallway him go.
He deserves that. He deserves that. He changed his kid's life. He deserves to be a little excited for himself. Coriana
Yeah,
just
Delvin
gets a very
begins
soft
walking up the
smile.
stairs at like 1000% speed of how he walked down those stairs.
He's just going like 2 steps at a time.
He actually does, yeah.
Well,
And he
take
walks
it
over
easy
to
now.
you.
Take it easy now.
He walks over to you guys in the stands. He is taller now.
When you're told, taking one step at a time sometimes feels awkward because it's not high enough. Know all about it.
Actually, he is right.
I don't want to say I'm surprised because that would imply I didn't have faith, but seeing it actually work, it's amazing.
Sure is.
It is.
So, Dale, I know they said that they got you some kit, but to be honest, I don't trust their fashion sense. We should get you some new threads.
Absolutely.
I don't, I'm being honest, I don't have a sense for fashion.
Between Alessandra and myself, you're covered.
Absolutely.
Thanks. I trust you guys entirely. Definitely something that goes good to farmer, though, right?
Oh, of course. So Alexander picks out the shirt and pants. Sajar picks out the robe.
There you go.
Yeah. Deal.
Canon. It's canon. But yeah. You guys are just sort of... Well, I guess more of a Delvet's talking of you guys. You guys give him like a couple more things that he could try doing. Like, you guys tell him, like, I don't know, jump up and down,
Jump
do a
jacks.
jumping jack, like stretch left and right, do cherry pickers, all
Do
that
backflip.
work.
Throw like a single punch.
Do a backflip, huh?
Here, try this. Hand him my
No, no.
fucking revolver.
Oh! That's the legend!
Oh shit!
He immediately does a backflip.
Let's
Where
go.
I fucking speechless.
America just chuckles to herself. I think the body suits him just fine.
Did you actually just do that, son?
I did. I did a backflip.
I'm so fucking proud of you.
He begins like outward, like openly crying now. He puts his hands together and shakes them up at the at the sky. True gods above, thank you. Thank you.
We'll make an adventure of you yet.
Tolas does like sort of awkwardly walk up to Delvet and in true Tolas fashion asks him a bunch of questions.
How can I be like you?
It's not a matter of like augment my body, but she just asks like how he feels.
Mm-hmm.
Not in
Well,
like an
that's very
emotional
polite.
way, but that does definitely get into Tolas's archiving as she records down his answers and everything like that.
Yeah.
But she's just like, how do you feel? What did you feel like before this? When you started the day today, did you feel any worse or better? Did you feel a divine auspiciousness when you woke up this morning? Da 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 da.
I mean, it makes sense.
does it-
Like,
he
this
does-
is... Go on.
Yeah,
This is someone who's
yeah,
been
he-
suffering their whole life.
basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the two of them are just sort of like idling away back there. And
what?
Kasai goes up to you guys. I'd assume from Alessander's words, you will be coming with us.
So it seems, Alessander.
Oh. I knew I forgot something.
Shit, I forgot to tell you guys, we're bringing someone else.
Is it alright with y'all if
Yes.
Delvet comes? Yeah.
This one would be heartless to refuse.
Yeah,
America
this one will
chuckles,
be-
training the boy.
asking for forgiveness rather than permission.
Did you forget? Or did you just purposely not give us the option to say no?
I would never.
Insight check.
Insight.
He's lying.
He's lying.
He doesn't even
It was
need
that
to-
idea.
No one even needs to roll, he's lying.
I bought to.
My bad. It's gonna be shit, but I want to see. Yep.
Yeah, he's lying. Oriana with a 25 though. As you guys are all conversing about like what Delvet he's coming with you, what can he do, what do you know? So this is when like you would sort of like you guys sort of know Delvet's general capabilities now from what Alessander knows.
Sick flips.
But he can do sick flips apparently, yes. But yeah, like Delvet is a very learned person. He wants to adventure. As you can tell by the bestiary, that he is knowledgeable on monsters and stuff like that, so on and so forth. But Oriana, at a 25, as you guys are conversing about like where Delwit will fit in, so to speak, with the group, you catch out of the corner of your attention, so to speak, it's not out of your eye because you sort of hear it, that Tolas is no longer the only person asking questions. Both her and Delva are just asking questions at each other, answering to the capabilities they know how, or saying that sounds interesting. We should go look into that because none of them know the answer. Or like Tolas would be like, oh, Sajar would know the answer. We can ask him later. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I think this should
That
catch
reminds
that.
me. I was gonna.
I.
Oh, sorry, Garth. Go ahead.
You're fine. She kind of catches that, looks away, thinks about it for like half a second, looks back. I just kind of like tap Father Alessander over here. That sounds more like a preacher than, you know what I mean. I just tap on
He's washing the blood of the
Yes,
lamb.
my child.
I tap on the arm. I just kind of like gesture at them, trying to be nonchalant. Just like look at that, look at them. They're interacting, but it's different. There's something else.
He watches for a few seconds before he nods and says, "They're complimentary. Good. They'll work well together."
Couldn't agree
Doesn't
more.
Tolas also want to
Hmm.
take a more hands-on approach to things?
True, that was mentioned. Might have to look into that more.
At this
Start
rate,
feeling
you'll have
more
a
and more
class
like
on
a
your
boot camp.
hands. Exactly.
America thinks on that for a moment, and then slowly shakes her head. I don't know if Tolas would respond well to that sort of training. Don't get me wrong, I 100% believe Tolas has the courage and the grit to go through it. I just don't know if that would be an effective manner of teaching Tolas. Tolas is a person of consideration, and she gets like a small smile on her face. Motivation, not necessarily one of discipline. I don't think Tolas is impulsive for the most part. But she's not disciplined. So I do not think a firm hand like you're advocating for would be the method.
Expand on that. Do you have an example of something in the past, maybe?
He thinks. Do you recall a couple of days ago when Tolas was asking for all this advice?
Yes, and I think Redane took her out back for a short while, and they came back almost vomiting.
Correct. Redane near struck Tolas. I believe Tolas is better with the carrot as opposed to the stick. There's so much Tolas wants to try to do as is. To try to beat Tolas down into operating on one particular avenue, I think would be doing her a disservice.
Maybe just incentivize a specific avenue so she can maintain a focus on.
Perhaps. But I do think the groundwork has already been laid for her. Between Redane's departure and Amber's words and Sashar's advice and all this, Tolas was even willing to give up their daemon, even if for a short time, had the conviction to do so. Don't get me wrong. I believe there's definitely still more to be done. But I do not believe it's as hard a struggle as we might think it is.
You know her best, Marika.
Maybe just
I wonder at times.
keep an eye and observe for the time being, then.
You might wonder, but I do not. I see clearly.
Rain has come.
You smiled at that. Well, she looks over at Tolas and Delva, who are still talking to one another. At least she has good company and someone learning the ropes, so to speak.
Study partners, as it were.
She nods. I think I'll do them both very good.
I like this.
Hey.
This is a good omen.
Yeah, very much so. Could I have... Was Blair paying attention at all to that entire thing, or was she still just lost in her own thought?
Blair is watching all of it. True to seeker nature, like, she's constantly watching and listening to everything.
Right.
She just doesn't say anything. She has enough shit on her plate.
Yeah, no, that's fair, that's fair.
But, roll me your insight.
I only have like one die left. Please don't need it. Just roll fucking good. You whore!
Kick.
There's the one.
Kick.
I could still get that
Hui.
higher.
If
Oh
only
wait,
there
is that in that one?
It isn't
Yeah.
that one.
That isn't that one.
Shit.
You have a thing for that, don't you?
Yeah. I do.
Right.
Reroll it.
Let's try that.
That's fucking wild, man. That's crazy.
If you got another one, I'm gonna go.
Don't talk.
Okay.
I'll throw a d6 on that. So I'll take a fucking 19.
Oh my god.
God
Oh,
damn,
yeah,
so many
this-
red.
Stop getting that one.
So many reds.
Well,
and
to be
yet
fair,
it's
on,
still a
on
19.
like the guidances and stuff, that's a fair. The Kensei is a bit
Yeah,
harder,
no.
but technically still better than a D20.
Still, it still hurts.
There is a bit of